So in the term of hope, we can start the session. Good evening, students, whoever has joined from different sections. Thanks for joining first. And we have a special speaker. He is an alumni of SRM and he is my student, Mr. Akshay Anil. He's a software engineer, and you can hear from him the importance of time complexity when and placement interview is being held. So you can have ask the queries. It is going to be a questionnaire session. You can feel free to discuss with your alumni. So he is open to you. Move ahead, Akshay. Yeah.
Hey, hello everyone. This is Akshay here. And first of all, thank you, Priya ma'am and Sindhuja ma'am, for organizing this event. And before proceeding ahead to the questionnaire, so let us talk about a bit about me. So I just copy pasted the entire things on the LinkedIn. You can connect me on LinkedIn and everything. Okay, so my name is Akshay and I'm from Patna, Bihar, guys. And I have done my BTech in CSC Big Data Analytics 2018 to 2022. So currently I'm working at Sigmoid. I guess you are in second year, right? So in case of any internship, if you need, you can connect me for the referral or so. Let us see my education and professional background as well. So again, BTech from SRM 2018 to 2022. And I joined in my college, I did an internship at Red Hat, then joined on campus from Brilio, my first company as so. Then I joined Cognitive for about a year, and then finally I'm at Sigmoid. So before joining the Sigmoid, there were a couple of interviews I gave. These were the company names, and I have specifically mentioned the DSA around, right? So these were the companies, six companies, and in all of them, DSA was always there. In Equifax, you can say 1/3, Analytic 1/3, 6 out of 4, 2 rounds were DSA. And just to know what maybe you have the questions, what are the question asked, that how was the experience, then for all the companies I went through for the interview process, I definitely made videos on that. You can just type the name and the company name, will get the things done, right? So that's a bit about me. I've been running a YouTube channel as well since a year, I guess, where we do 3 things. I will get to that as well. In the November month, I guess we had one session as well regarding the importance of DSA. So many of you had this question. So these are the chapters here. We also did 2 mock interviews, some feedback process, and these are the questions you guys asked: DSA versus placement and DSA or CP. So you can go through this as well. You get a more clear understanding. And before you ask that how do you practice, let me just make that things clear, and we'll cover then time complexity, followed by we'll do a questionnaire, right? So how do I practice, guys? So I always practice on a daily basis. So there's a GFG PUDD, that's the problem of the day. And why I'm not advertising GFG at all, right? That's the platform, GFG or LeetCode one, practice always. So problem of the day means that one question is thrown to you from a DSA pool, and all the DSA knowledge you have, you'll be not knowing where the question will be from. You'll solve that all the approaches, right? So that's what I do on a daily basis on my channel, whatever be the time management for me, however busy I am, right? Second thing is that there's 100 questions of my playlist on the YouTube. You can go through it. That's actually the prerequisite question. The last time I discussed on the previous webinar, that you must know or complete the basics of the DSA, so that one question is thrown, then you can solve it, right? So as of now, we are maintain a 478-day streak, so that is never going to end until I left IT, right? So that's not going to happen in any near future. ठीक है, so that was it. Now let's get started with today's session. That would be a very simple one, and hope I'm audible, guys. You can hear me, right?
Yes, Akshay, you're audible.
Okay. So a few things I just like to add, that what I'm gonna emphasize on, because you must have went through the time complexity thing. But after you went through this, there's one logic of constraint analysis. I want to emphasize more on that, right? But before that, let me just confirm that what levels you have in the time complexity, right? So just answer me in the comment section or anywhere. I just want to understand, do you understand these things or not? So let's say we have a for loop going till I less than an I plus plus, and I'm just printing hello world, right? Then what is the time constant for this code? You can comment in the chat or open your mic and say to me. What is the time constant? That is the worst case I'm talking about. O of what? O of 1. Anyone else, please? Do answer. There will be just two questions. I'll explain it to you and then we'll jump onto the emphasis. O of 1. Okay, so uh, why you guys are saying O of 1? Because if I just said in my whole program there is one print statement, let's say hello, right? So that's just printing once. Then I can say O of 1 because that's the task executed only once. But here's a for loop, right, which is going till n times. So we are printing this statement n times. So that is why O of n would be the diagnosty for this code, right? I hope you guys on the same page with me. Great, O of n, I see the answer. Okay, for those who are seeing O of 1, maybe you have been confused with just one print hello and printing n times hello, right? So that's the only thing I need to ask you. आप ये समझ पा रहे हो कि नहीं, right? Now, whenever you have solved a question on any platform, right, you must have seen that there's a constraint given, right? If I just browse some questions for you. So let's say there's an nth Fibonacci number. I'm not going to explain how the question is solved. I just want to emphasize the importance of time constant, the TLE you must have experienced when you solve a question. You can clearly see there is n is less than 10 power 5 for this Fibonacci number. Now when you go to LeetCode platform, let's say another platform, you can see here that n is nothing but 30, right? So does anyone know that why these constraints are given? Yes or no, a brief answer maybe if you know about it. Waiting for your responses, either say in chat or open your mic and speak up. Yes or no, that's it. Again, I'll repeat the question. So do you know, are you aware that why these constraints are given on any online platform of a question that n tends to 10 power 5 or n tends to 30 or whatsoever? I'm waiting for your responses, guys. Just speak yes or no and we'll proceed ahead. To what you have written, weed, to weed out. I couldn't understand. What is this? Brute forces approaches. Okay. Okay. ठीक है तो move करते हैं यार. I think I need to explain it. Okay, so why these constraints are given that to submit any program, to submit any code you have written on the compiler on the any online platform, right? You need to do that thing in 10 power 8, right? Let's say why I'm saying 10 power. So let's say for this program, if I would have set the constraint, let's say n is nothing but 10 power 6. So you agree that the time constant for this program is O of n, right? But if I say in specific numbers, then this is nothing but O of 10 power 6 because I set the constraint of n. That is the worst, it would be 10 power 6, and in all other cases, it would be lesser than 10 power 6, right? So to submit a program in your day-to-day coding platform, you need to submit it in 10 power 8. 10 power 8 iterations, which is almost equals to 1 second, right? If you have written your code, let's say whatever be the time velocity of that code, O of n, O of n log n, anything. So if it is n log n, let's say, right? So you need to put the n, which is given in the constraint, and need to see if n log n is coming less than 10 power 8, then your code will get submitted, right? So let us see this in practical as well. कि ये actually में काम करता है कि नहीं, and then we will see कि once we are done the constraint analysis, then how we can think of any particular question, right? So let's say Fibonacci का number है. That's a program of nth Fibonacci number. I don't know if you guys know how to solve it, but that's not the motive to solve the question here, right? So that's the program, right? And this program is taking the time complexity of exponential time complexity because that's the recursion we are doing, right? So it is 2 power n, right? And n is nothing but 10 power 5. So if I do 2 power 10 power 5, this is much greater than 10 power 8, right? So even if our code is correct, it is giving the correct output from some of the cases. We can just compile and then we can see that even if our code is correct, right? And let's just wait for the results. Okay, so we verified for 2.
Actually, can you just share your screen? I think your screen is not shared.
Okay. You are right, ma'am. I'll just share the screen. Somebody could have spoken up, I guess. Okay. Okay, so is it visible now?
Yes.
I have to reiterate everything now then. Okay. So you must have not seen all these things as well. Okay. Let me go through it once again very quickly. Yeah, right. So these were the things I was showing. That's my LinkedIn profile here, and that was the experience what I talked about. And these are the YouTube videos that you can just go through it, right? Whenever I say the DSA round are there. Then we had a session in month of November, so those were the chapters. So you can go through that as well. And how do I practice? I already mentioned, I already discussed, and we have streak of 478 days. Okay, I think that was the reason you guys were using print hello world over one. Okay, I understand now, but somebody could have spoken up definitely. Okay, so this was the question I asked you, that there's a for loop going from I equals to 0 to less than n, and then we are giving print hello world. Then definitely you will agree that the time constants is O of n, right? Okay, I think that's a very simple question, but I just want to understand you had a background in it or not. So my question was that whenever you see a question on a coding platform, right, there's a constraint given here. There's a value, the range is given there for the n. So let's just see it is given or not. So if you go to the GFG website, you can clearly see there's the nth Fibonacci number and expected and auxiliary space is written, and you can clearly see the constraint is here. Similarly, if you go to some another platform with the same question, let's say on LeetCode, so Fibonacci number again, and you will say the constraint is n less than power 30, right? So can anyone tell me that why these constraints differ and why are these constraints even given? If you know the logic to code the solution, we just code it and get through the question, right? Mm. So why are these constraints given? Just reply me yes or no, else we will just continue. Anyone knows that? Rohan, Kevin, anyone? Okay, I'm assuming that you don't know why these constraints are given, right? So what I said that to submit any program or submit any code successfully and you will not get a TLE. What's this TLE? Time limit exceeded. That you have given a solution, but it's taking more time than required by the compiler to compile it, right? So what I was saying, that was the first time point I said that 10 per 8 second is equals to 1 second, and you need to cover your code. You need to write your code in this less than 10 per 8 iterations. So when you said that the O of n is the time of this program, printing hello world n times, and I'm assuming I'm just hard coding it that n is 10 power 6, then it is as good to say that the time constant of this particular program is O of 10 power 6. We clear on that, right? ठीक है, so I was saying कि again I'll go back to the GFG side, and the reason I'm gonna explaining you this constraint and everything is directly related to time complexity. So let's just keep going ahead. So is the nth Fibonacci number? The motive here is not to explain you how the program works. So that's the recursive approach. You can clearly see the fib function is calling twice, and every for n we are calling n minus 1 and n minus 2, right? So the time complexity for this code would be 10 power 2 power n, right? Because for each and every we have two choices. Again, I'll not explain why it is 2 power n because that's not the motive here, right? Okay, so 2 power n. So if you definitely do, and what is n saying in this question is 10 power 5, right? So if you do 10 power 2 power n, right, that is 10 power 5. That is definitely much greater than 10 power 8, and that is why even if our code is right, it is definitely right. If we just give some custom input, let's say 10, right, and we will just verify our code is definitely working correct. But if I submit it, it will not get submit. We will verify that as well. So your output for 55 and expected is also 55. Let's just submit it, right? So when I say that we always do a GFG PUTD on my channel with all the possible approaches. So that's the summary which I always end with the question that before submitting, can you tell me that this code will work or not, right? And that's the only emphasis I am going to explain here. You can clearly see that for the 10 cases it passed, and for rest of the cases it did not pass. The reason being that for all the test cases, your number of iterations you are taking is greater than 10 power 8. You need to be in less than 10 power 8, less than equals to 10 power 8 to submit your code, right? That means ki n is given 10 per 5. So even if we use an approach of O of n, to bhi kaam kar jayega, right? So let's just what to say, memorize this approach for the recursion. I know maybe these terms which I'm speaking not aware of, you guys are, but definitely that's not the motive again. So the what to say, the optimization recursion is memorization and tabulation, right? So this is taking O of 2 power n, and this will take O of n, right? I'm not explaining why. So, and this will also take O of n. So assuming that we memorize our approach, optimize our code, and move from recursion to memorization, then O of n. And what is O of n pointing to in the compiler? It is less than equals to 10 power 5, right? And if we code in 10 O of n, then we can clearly say that we are now coding our approach in O of 10 power 5. That would be the worst case, right? So let's just optimize this approach. And these are the two approaches, the tabulation and the, which one? Memorization one. So I'll just give you the example of first approach, there's the tabulation. And clearly we can see there's the O of n diversity. So if I now submit it, so definitely this code will get submitted because Again, the time complexity is less than equals to 10 power 8. Now, why I'm saying this will making be sense to you in the coming time. So similarly, now what we see that the recursion approach was not working in the GFG side because the constraint was set in this manner. Now, if I come to the lead code, right, and you can clearly see the n is much smaller. So, and again, if I just copy paste the recursive approach in the lead code platform, let's say, that's the same approach, the same recursive approach we have seen in the GFG platform. But since here the constraint is so less that if I do 2 power n, that is 2 power 30, that would be around 10 power 8, right? And if I just submit this approach, it will get submitted. It will not give me TLE. So the reason being here, why I was emphasizing on this TLE point, TLE is nothing but time limit exceeded. You have taken more time than required by the compiler, right? So that itself has to be the relation with its 10 power 8. आपको 1 सेकंड में प्रोग्राम को कंपाइल करना है, 1 सेकंड का मतलब है 10 power 8 iterations, right? तो ठीक है, इतना तो you told me this thing, but how do I use it in the given questions, right? So this is the chart you must remember, right? You can take a screenshot. You must remember this chart. There is also one video of the same thing which I explained to you. There's a TLE video on my YouTube channel as well. You can just search TLE Akshay, will get the video as well, right? Okay, so 1 second is 10 power 8 computations. We are clear on that as of now, right? And we need to solve the questions in less than 10 power 8 computations. Otherwise, we'll get a TLE. So these are the numbers, right? We have done some mathematics here. So, and these are the diagonals, O of n, log n root n square root n, and so on, right? So if we have given the constraint as 10 power 8, right, and we need to code in less than 10 power 8, so can we say that O of n is the only solution that will work? Or इससे जो छोटा हो या फिर log n, right? You cannot go beyond n. Otherwise, if you think of approach which is going beyond n, then definitely you get a TLE. I hope I'm clear on that and you are able to follow up, right? Similarly, for 10 power 6, if you do mathematics on n log n, that is 10 power 6 into log of 10 power 6 base 2, you will get a number of 2 into 10 power 7, which is almost close to 10 power 8, right? But it is lesser than 10 power. So that is why for 10 power 6, if the constraint is given to you in 10 power 6, then make sure you think you start thinking the approach of n log n, right? अब ये भी डिस्कस करें कि what is n log n, right? What are all the structures or the ways which you can be up to n log n technique? Similarly for 10 power 5, n root n or lower than it. Similarly for 10 power 4, n square and lower than it, right? So do remember this chart? Maybe take a screenshot and write it to yourself. Now n is less than 10, right? Then in this cases you can do n factorial as well. So this is nothing but the time complexity or where the ways you use are permutation and combination, right? So let me give you one more practical example as well. So there's a question of generate parentheses, right? And you can clearly see the constraint is much lesser, right? So before reading the question itself, ये question कहना क्या चाहता है, मैं यहाँ पे ये बोल सकता हूँ, I can speak up कि definitely this question will be solved with recursion. Recursion will be one of the way to solve this question, right? Because the constraints are so less, we cannot go it, right? ठीक है, तो if we just look at the submissions as well, which I have done in I guess September, and if you see again, I will not explain how this question is running, but the solution which we have used is again the exponential one, 2 power 2n, and if you do it again, if you place the n, then definitely you will get a number which is less than 10 power 8, right? ठीक है, तो बहुत हो गया on 10 power 8, and now once we have finalized this thing, we have understood that to submit a program, we need to solve this question in less than 10 power 8 computations, right? Now, if you have removed this chart because you have to, right? Then there are some data structures. If you have studied the DSA, then you know that there's a map. In the map, there are two types of, in Java, I'm specifically talking about Java right here, right? In map, there are two types of map. There is unordered and ordered. So ordered is a hash map and ordered is tree map, right? And in tree map, if you ever put add or remove any elements, it will take n log n. The reason being red back tree use hota hai backend mein, right? Again, I'll not go in the depth. So I'm just saying that these are data structures which actually uses n log n. Just as sorting. Sorting, you can see, you can definitely have to use n log n. Binary search, you have to use log n. Backtracking, you have to 2 power n. And permutation n factorial. So if we just read the question and see the constraint, what the constraint is saying, then according to this analysis, right, we can just get to this कि हम कैसे solve करेंगे. If n is less than 10 power 8, then definitely we have to look up with the approach the permutations and combinations, right? That or permutation and combination that is exponential jara, you have to use recursion. Okay, so that was the thing I wanted to explain it to you guys, and I guess I'm done here. Yep, I'm done because this thing I didn't find, like I learned about this 10.8 thing after a lot of time. मेरे You can say I even practiced more than 100 questions, but still I was not knowing this logic. Because बस पता था कि there is a brute force and you have to optimize it to submit your code. I was not doing this 10 per 8 logic exists. You can verify this as well. There is one GFG site link as well. You can go to this link that how to overcome TLE. You will get the constraint here. I have just solved all the numbers to just show you that each and every number is less than 10 per 8, and that is why these time constants are mentioned here, right? Okay, so that was the thing, yeah. 7 to 7.5 का session था, and we have already half an hour now. Okay, so that was it from my side, Priya ma'am. Now, if you have any questions regarding anything DSA diagnostic, why is it needed, how to do it, you can ask me up now. Am are you there?
Yes, yes, right. Sindhuja here.
Yeah, hi ma'am.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, ma'am?
Oh, oh, okay, thanks a lot, Akshay. Every time you're giving your, I mean, full support to make these people what to know the. Okay, students, any doubt? If you have any question, you can ask. So, Mr. Akshay has given, I mean, he has just covered everything. If you want, I mean, if you have any questions, you can just ask.
Yes. Now there are many things to cover. There's omega,
Yes,
theta, and
yes,
everything.
yes.
But
It's just a glimpse.
yeah, just a glimpse that whenever you solve a question on the platform, what do you
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
look for? Yeah. Please go ahead, guys, if you have any
You can
question.
also, I mean, ask in chat box.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
even. Are there any online resources or tools you recommend for practice time complexity analysis, understanding the algorithms better? To practice the time complexity analysis. Definitely. So if you are starting with time complexity, so you should always go with some bunch of questions like I explained you about. I asked you about this for loop, right? But there are multiple problems you should go through to just to analyze that what is the time complexity of this code. So you can go through GFG website or some another online resources as well. In GFG, you can just type time complexity and you'll get several example, I guess, several example. And what else? Understanding the algorithms better. So for understanding the algorithms better, you have to first learn the algorithm, right? You have to first complete your DSA from 0 to 100, like whatever the topics are there. So that's the reason I mentioned the list here as well, right? So these are the topics in DSA. You should cover all of them, right? It will take time. It will take 6 to 7 months if you're just starting it, and that too if you're consistent. If you're not being consistent, then definitely it could take you maybe more than a year as well. But since you're in the second year, you can go with a slow pace, and you will cover it, right? I hope that answers your question, Rohan. And how to cover DSA in the efficient manner, you can watch our previous podcast. There also we have discussed the same questions. But again, if you have some other question, please ask them through.
Students, you can unmute and even ask questions. If not, you can ask in the chat.
Yes, sir. And it's time complexity analysis very important for placement interviews as well. Placement interviews do not like whatever the interviews I have given. They will not give you a code and they will tell you to give the time complexity. But definitely they will give you a question. And if you have like let's say there's a very standard question of sort colors. Let me that just open it for you. There is very standard question of sort colors, right? So in this question, what is said that you have been given numbers of 0, 1, and 2, right? So simple solution kya hai ki we just sort it, and that's it. Our job will be done. But that is n log n approach. So now, and you should be able to tell that this sorting I have used a sorting technique that is n log n, right? Now the interview will ask you, okay, that's you have used n log n, but I wanted to optimize you. Then you had to have a good understanding on the time complexity as well. What did you ask? An important of placement interviews as well. It is important. It will not ask you directly, but once you have to optimize your approach, or once you have any coded any solution, you have to give your time complexity. You code your solution and you gave wrong time complexity, that would be a very bad impression. Again, this question we have covered in the previous podcast as well. I hope that answers, Rohan. Somebody has raised the hand, I guess. Uh, I cannot see that. Whoever it is, you can speak up. everyone here understand Hindi, or is someone here who is not able to understand? Any of the students? आपको हिंदी में पूछना है, हिंदी में पूछ ले यार, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, नहीं शर्माने की जरूरत नहीं है। मैं भी सेकंड ईयर में था कभी। Any more questions? Please go ahead. You have time. कुछ भी चलेगा यार, डीएसए कैसे पढ़े हैं, प्लेसमेंट में कैसे बैठे हैं। Anything you want to ask, anything regarding DSA, time complexity. Or else you can just go through my channel. यहाँ पे भी we have covered much 532 videos are there, and we have covered almost many of the question, almost all of the questions in the purity streak. Like yesterday, it was max on some of our class, and everything was there. And yes, you can follow that as well. Any more questions? Please speak up or write it in the chat.
Yeah, students, if there is any question, you can ask. If not, you can please enter the feedback in the chat box. The link is being shared in the chat box. You can please enter the feedback. Thank you, Akshay. I think that we can wind up the meeting because as is weekend, I think students
Yeah,
are
yes.
yeah
True.
really tired and they might have gone out. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you for giving us a very good insight for the students on the time.
Priya ma'am, excuse me, Priya ma'am, there is one more question from
Yeah,
Rohan, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also going to. Yeah, thank you for all the kind words, Priya ma'am. So let me just go to this question as well. So if we have, I don't need to call sir, just call me Akshay. Uh, because in IT we do not, we call everyone by the name. So better to keep practice. If we have never started lead code or code chef or code forces, then how shall we start? What should be the roadmaps? See, like again, there is a choice here. Like we have covered this thing again in a previous thing, but I'll just tell you again. It is the choice here. What do you want, right? Want is that for me, the want was to get a good placement, right? And when I say a good placement, I'm talking about in the figures of 12 to 20 LPA as a fresher, right? This is the figure I'm having in my mind. So you just want a good placement, right? Then the things you need to be perfect is in DSA. There are 4 other subjects as well. Oops. You need to be perfect in DBMS, the computer networks, and operating system. So these 2 things, just to be on the safer side, but these 3 things are mandatory. Like they will expect you to answer all of these questions, right? So, and what was the question again? Never started lead code. Huh. So, if the goal is to just get a good placement, you need to be had a very good understanding of these 5 topics, right? But अगर आप ऐसे बंदे हो कि once you have completed these steps, this is the because this is the first step, yeah. Whatever your wants or not, like you want also want to win a CP profile, right? So personally, I never did CP, right? Because that is not I want. Because what I want can be covered in these 5 steps, right? So why to do extra work? But again, if you have time and you want to do CP, that is your choice. You can go with lead code. Lead code contests are there. Then you can go with code forces, right? So these 2 platform I have heard very good for CP, right? But again, if you just want a good placement and have in this range, right? Or maybe even want to go in FANG. So one of the first step is to be very good in DSA, right? And time constantly as well. That's the part of DSA. That's what I understand here, and I hope that answers your question. So I guess that is it. Anyone having more question, we can do it, or else we can end this chat.
Yeah, I hope there is no other question, Akshay. So you can, as you have shared, I'll share the LinkedIn profile to the students so they can connect with you, so they can
Yes.
stay in touch with you.
Sure,
Fine.
sure.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
and thank you.
Thank you, Akshay.
Yeah, thank you, Sindhuja,
Take
ma'am.
care.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy the weekend and take
Yeah. We need your support.
care. Sure, sure. Anytime you have any problem with the DSA, you can I'm just a call away.
Yeah, sure. Take care, ma.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, thank you, students.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.